Hazard pay heats up, baby. It is in the third stimulus package, but could it be in the fourth stimulus package? We will see as the Democrats are pushing to get it back in there. In this throwback video, I explain hazard pay, essential workers, the $10,000 of Nancy Pelosi, and also private hazard pay, which is heating up across the country. Enjoy this overnight LATE video about hazard pay. The last couple of weeks have been very successful for Democrats. Those Democrats have, chased a postman around for about 2 weeks. Got really, nowhere from that. Then today, AOC out of New York talked about her bipartisan pot bill. She said everyone can agree upon pot. Yeah, when they're sober, I don't. Yeah. And needless to say, that's not going well either. And so there's now calls to punt the blunt bill. Yeah. Then there was all that time when Nancy Pelosi was talking about children going hungry, as though she's coherent. But President Donald Trump came out yesterday and said, you know what, Democrats are not giving you enough stimulus. I want to give you more stimulus. I want to give you more stimulus checks. I'm supporting the problem solvers. I want to give you 2-second stimulus checks. Nancy Pelosi said, you know what, I sort of agree. I think we do need some more stimulus than I even proposed. Let's add an additional round of some gift certificates to Supercuts. Hey, good afternoon, everybody. This is LLA, and I hope you're good and safe. And this is a big day. It's a big day, and so I'm glad you are here. I'm here. Your Democrats are in the room. Your Republic dogs are with us. The blue dogs, the blue cats, the Blue Man Group, anyone that can come in the room that's blue or red, I appreciate you for coming. This is our 2-hour programming block every day. Coming up in 30 minutes from now is unemployment. I have big developments. I'll be answering your questions on camera about unemployment. So stay with that. And then after that is rent, 30 minutes after that as well. If there was a day to subscribe, it would be today. There's big developments, and we're delivering it to you right now. Go to the Friends channel and subscribe and drop your comments below as this channel passes 250,000 subscribers in 4 months. A YouTube record is now approaching 260. Let's see if we can get to 260 today. I will be covering new developments on hazard pay, which is this video minutes ago. 2 states have now really pushed the envelope on getting you hazard pay from a local jurisdictional level. And that has been really my focus for you on how to get hazard pay, as congressional hazard pay seems to be falling apart more than, the jail's job on the hair. I'll also be answering some of your 521 incredible comments from yesterday's video on hazard pay. If it comes to this video as well, drop them in the below, and I'll try to answer them tomorrow. Big news coming out of Pennsylvania Governor Tom Wolf, who's calling for his state to provide hazard pay to frontline workers right away. Why is this so important if you're not in Pennsylvania? It's important because I have been detailing in a world exclusive scandal, which I unveiled over a week ago, that states have fortunes. And that fortunes was to go to you in the form of stimulus checks, enhanced unemployment benefits, rent, food, hazard pay, and similar types of provisions. It was money given to them under the first stimulus package passed in March, $150 billion for all the states. It landed in the states, they got the money, and then the states were to allocate it to cities and counties in the state, however they so declared or so wished, and to use that money accordingly. Well, as the scandal uncovered, that world exclusive on this channel only, cities and counties, states across the country have literally not complied whatsoever. And they've done 3 sort of games with the money that's supposed to be yours. The end result, before I get to the backstory, is great news. The great news is that they're spending the money right now on you. And so if you're sitting here and saying, oh, well, I don't see hazard pay from a congressional level, I don't see it happening in the Senate and the House, you're correct. I don't see, any bill passing by the president with hazard pay, you're correct. So am I getting hazard pay? Yes, on a state or local or city level, and this is what's happening. Cities, counties, and states understand that there's a provision under this CARES Act 1 money called use it or lose it. They have to spend the money or they lose it. It goes back to Donald. It goes back to Washington. They don't use the money. It leaves us. It leaves them. They can't keep it in their bank accounts anymore, even though they would love to. And actually, a few of them really want to keep it in there indefinitely just to collect interest. As one state, I think it was Virginia, I slammed them because they actually wanted to keep the money for a rainy day, as though this is not a rainy day, and then use it, 20 years from now. That's not the purpose of the money. Needless to say, the great news as we sit here today is they're doing things. And you need to go on Google. You need to search for news articles and look for hazard pay plus your city or county's name or your state's and plus grant. Also do that for rent and unemployment. So Governor Tom Wolf of Pennsylvania says it's time to start paying hazard pay on locally with that money, which I just identified for you. Quote, the need for additional hazard pay is clear. Many employers still want to participate in the program, so I urge the General Assembly, which is his state legislature, to join me in giving Pennsylvania businesses and their workers the support they deserve. They need to keep us safe. They need to compensate them for the risk that they've taken for us. I love that. I love that. Finally, someone who's respecting the work that you did as a frontline worker, working during the pandemic as an essential worker. Amen, Governor. So he's asking his legislature to allocate $225 million of the money they got, the billions the state of Pennsylvania got, to use for hazard pay. Wolf said that $50 million available for the program was awarded to 639 eligible employers, but he wants more money. It would be $3 an hour for 41,000 workers. The program was first announced in July. He wants to reimburse it with more money. So he's done a really impressive job, this governor. He did not hold on to the money like other states, and he's not trying to use it or lose it. He actually had the money and started to use in July. It ran out, so he's doing it again. South Carolina. Let's turn to South Carolina now. South Carolina's Senate passed changes today or this week to allow for hazard pay to be paid with the same money they got. It is for teachers in some cases. 6 months ago, when the pandemic started, economists thought the state revenue would collapse. Lawmakers do have about $775 million saved from previous budget, but the budget set $50 million for education, most of it for teachers, to step increase. The bill would provide hazard pay as accordingly. Let's check it. $1,000 hazard pay bonuses to about 12,000 employees, prison guards, state troopers, and healthcare workers who make less than $50,000 a year and had to keep working during the pandemic. Okay, what's interesting about this, as you compare it to what has happened in other jurisdictions, is that it's a lump sum, which is interesting. Sometimes they do it based upon number of hours you worked. This one's just like, we're just going to do lump sum, which is easier accounting. It does use an economic threshold. The threshold is a little bit lower. So it says if you made $50,000 or less a year, the federal congressional bill that we talk about with the $10,000 of hazard pay, that puts it at $100,000 a year. So they're putting it a little bit lower. And finally, they're paying hazard pay for public employees, state prison guards, state troopers, not for private employees. Of course, I would have a comment about that as well. But what were your comments? You had 521 comments to yesterday's hazard pay video, in which I covered what's going on in those states. I additionally covered really two major other forces that are at hand. One, Romney. Mitt Romney, the senator from the West, Republican, has an incredibly great hazard pay bill. It's in the Senate. He introduced it months ago. He introduced it in May. It has not gained traction. And I said, hey, get on social media and get traction behind Mitt Romney. Tweet him and say, hey, Mitt, let's get this hazard pay bill going. I love the bill. Everything about the bill I loved, except maybe the amount of money could be more. It requires the employee to apply. It requires the employee to get the money. It pays the employee to get your money. There's no question whether the employee is going to get the money because they will. They're required under the law. And it pays essential workers that are certainly broader than these descriptions, these qualifications, for money you worked during the pandemic. I love it. I mean, it's so nonpartisan, so why can't we get it done? The other thing that's really great news is that unions across this country, which I've been detailing on almost a daily basis, are really pushing hazard pay to get it paid to you by protests. You know, people talk about protests for the purple power. Should we have protests for the purple power? You know, you can spend your force, your energies at different levels. I have detailed and announced this morning on Mornings LALATE that I will personally fly to Washington and meet with Mark Meadows, Chief of Staff to Donald Trump, if the purple power, the viewers of this channel can get Meadows to agree to meet with me. And I'll go into that meeting and argue for second stimulus checks, $1,200 individual, $2,400 married couple, $1,200 dependents not taken out for child support, and FPUC, $450 a week, retroactive back to July all the way to December, and do it all by executive orders forthwith. I think that's absolutely needed relief. I'm not casting aside my hazard pay viewers, but I'm certainly agreeing to do that, and that would be an incredible achievement to get up for the purple power. I think we can do it. So if you believe it, share this video, share the video before this, tag Meadows, and say, hey, meet with my boy LALATE, and he wants to talk to you about an executive order for stimulus checks and FPUC. I think you should get it done. All right, let me answer some of your 521 questions from yesterday about hazard pay. Mary, John Kennedy, Denny, Nancy, Chuck are all hardcore government. I'm just going to call them one-eyed, horny, flirting, purple people. Denzel, they need to get Pelosi out of the office. Maria, I'm laughing so hard at the lobsters. They don't like her dogs. Sherry, who cares about Nancy? Let's get the proposal signed. Andy Biggs asked for Nancy to resign. Christine, Nancy, go away. Chris, good evening, Purple Power. Betty, they want us to be homeless, put on the street. William, we need some lawmakers to step in, organize a class action. Ratha, Pelosi needs to go home. She doesn't count any longer. Jamie, bye-bye, Nancy. William, how do they really think one more check is going to do, especially when you've lost your home? Janice, I did my research. I live in Virginia. Mark, it's pouring the Olmec story. John Francis, Ella, you're getting me through these days. Need help, need the money. Lenteca, the problem with these city grants is not everyone needs them and not everyone qualifies for them. You know, when you're looking for these grants, which I want you to understand is, you know, if you're watching this video today on a Friday and then you go looking for grants, maybe you don't find any. I don't want you to say, okay, there's no grants, because I'm telling you they're being announced literally differently every single day. So look today. If there's nothing, you know, come back and look in a day or two from now. If you saw grants today, as she did, and they didn't qualify for her, don't just say, oh, the problem with these grants is none of them apply to me. No, those are the grants today. There may be different grants tomorrow. So I don't want anyone to just sort of do a Nancy Pelosi type job. I looked for 10 seconds. I didn't find anything, so thank you so much. Goodbye. Don't come back to me unless you have lobster. It's just like, you know, no. When we're talking about money and free money is not money that's easy to get, whether it's EIDL grants or any other type of grants. You got to look for it. You got to find it. You got to apply for it. You got to fill out the paperwork. It's not like it's just like, here I am. There's a little bit about work to do it. And my job is to keep you positive. My job is to keep you focused. And whether it's Waco, Texas, or somewhere else that announced a grant program, I'm sharing it with you. I can't find every grant program for you. But Lauren says, all I can say is elections coming up, and let's all vote them out. Kathy Gutierrez, thank you for the update. Mary, Kamala, hazard pay would be a blessing. Tana, good evening, LA. Well, thank you. Mark Zwelik, be comfortable, uncomfortably blunt. SoCal Ronnie, she brought it. Time for her to learn a bit of karma. Mary Mack, praise for the whole country. Arthur Bowling, when start giving out the checks. Andrea, the hazard pay is important, but I think you should be really worried about people who are homeless and losing everything. Michelle Milan, I told my boyfriend in June we wouldn't get anything until right before the election. You know what's important to understand as we sit here today is that hazard pay has never really been a front page news story. It's ironic. It's for frontline workers, but has never been a front page news story. The reason why is because the people who are writing the bills for hazard pay have never really pushed the discussion about it. It's as though they slid hazard pay into a bill, the HEROES Act, and they really didn't talk about it. I mean, every time that there was a press conference about the negotiations between Pelosi and Mnuchin, no one talked about the existence of hazard pay. And despite the fact that the hazard pay videos on this channel are extremely well watched, and despite the fact that I get countless DMs and tweets and emails on a regular basis, how do I apply? How do I get this? How do I get that? The problem is that there hasn't been a lot of discussion about it. Hazard pay under the federal law, under the HEROES Act, would be $10,000 if you worked in the pandemic from January all the way up to the present, $13 an hour based upon the number of hours you worked. Doesn't matter whether you were part-time, full-time, laid off, fired, multiple jobs, 2 jobs the same place, left, came back, doesn't matter. You would still use the calculation. Essential workers under the rule was very broadly defined, but they were defined in the bill. It did not leave you to default to definitions of essential workers for purposes of what your employer says or what your city or county says. No, it actually said in the bill, these are the essential workers. You would get a $10,000 lump sum if you worked in the pandemic from January all the way up to the present, and you calculate $13 an hour and you're over that threshold. And if you made $100,000 or less last year, if you didn't reach that threshold, you'll still get a lump sum for what you're at, and then paid $13 an hour going forward. And if you made too much money last year, you would only get $5,000. But is there potential for that bill to become a law? I don't see it. I mean, it's a bill. It is part of that monolith of horribleness, the HEROES Act, that has so much pork in it that it's never going to get passed. So could it get extracted from the HEROES Act and get a standalone bill? Well, it has one. It's called the Romney Plan. Danita, I'm still with you. Well, you better be. Cindy, I love Danita. Cindy D, who I also love. Good evening, LA. Love your purple power. I love you back. Jamie McPhee, just had my Pelosi trip down the stairs. Shalitha, I have a question. What if your manager employees quit? That's really one of the issues. If someone quits, how do they apply? Under Romney's plan, it's not a problem. He has that problem solved. Bob Griffins, we need to get help. This is greedy America. Jennifer, LA, when will the stimulus bill be signed and deposited in our bank accounts? We just don't know. A 7-1 son, how, where, and well is all I need to know. Well, I have more to tell you than all you need to know. So if you only want one question answered, I'm not the person for you. I cover more than one question. That's why there's 4 hours of programming here. Maria Aponte, thank you for your updates, sweetheart. Well, I appreciate it. I love Maria. Bruce Conway, I've been watching since the beginning of your channel. I enjoy your content. I love your personality. Well, I appreciate that, Bruce. I remember you very well. Thank you for your comment. Jerry LeBrew, I like it. She's on the pop bill now. You're so damn funny. I needed that laugh. I appreciate that. I mean, remember, pump the blood. Mobster rhymes with lobster. It's just, can't make this stuff up. And that Pelosi wants to give money to airlines so she can do her escape route. If there was a time to subscribe to the channel, it's now. Go to the front of the channel and subscribe and drop your comments below. I might feature them tomorrow's recording. 250,000 subscribers in 4 months, a YouTube record. We're approaching 260. Let's see if we can get to 260 today. I think we're about 1,000 away. We had about 3,000 subscribers yesterday, so it was a good day. Also, like this video. It really helps so the video appears higher in the algorithm. And boy, it is a 24 hours or 48 hours of crazy, screwy, bad stories that this channel has to compete against. So let's just get them out of the way and get this higher. Coming up next is unemployment. As always, stay informed, stay smiling, and stay LA for more.